day 5 hit different. Jessica couldn't focus. Something in the house felt too warm, too still. The kind of still where even silence has weight. She hadn't been sleeping right. A deal that should have been easy slipped, and her husband started bringing up bills they already paid. She couldn't explain it, but something was spiraling, and the only new thing in the house was that bouquet. A gift. Big, bright, beautiful. Summer luck in a vase, the note said. Peonies, sunflowers, orchids. All the blooms people say attract wealth, happiness, and good vibes. But instead of lifting her energy, that bouquet had quietly changed the flow of her entire home. Like it brought in a storm no one saw coming. The truth? Not every flower brings luck. Some carry too much heat. Some block quiet flow. And some just look good while throwing your energy out of balance. In this episode, we're going deep into 5 Feng Shui flowers perfect for summer. Not just pretty petals. These are real energy movers, chosen for how they refresh the qi, cool the tension, and gently pull your space back toward wealth and calm. Because summer's beauty isn't the problem. It's the energy it carries, and whether it actually fits your home. If you've ever felt like your space looked fine, but something still felt off, like the vibe was smiling, but your wallet wasn't, you're not alone. Hit like if you've ever bought something for good luck and later questioned it. Subscribe if you're learning to trust the quiet signals your home gives you. And drop a comment if flowers ever made your room feel too full or too still. This space here? It's where beauty meets balance. And you belong in both. Jessica used to swear by peonies. They were her go-to lucky flower. Big, bold, beautiful. Every summer, she'd put them right in the center of her living room. She even joked that they were her money magnet in a vase. So when her cousin brought her a fresh bouquet full of bright pink peonies, she lit up, trimmed the stems, dropped them in her favorite glass vase, right there on the coffee table, center stage. But 3 days later, she started feeling heavy. Not tired, just weighed down. Her afternoons felt slow. Her sleep got weird. And her space, it stopped feeling like a place that helped her breathe. In Feng Shui, peonies carry strong yang qi thought rising, powerful, active energy. It's great for boosting romance, prosperity, and celebration. But in the middle of summer, when the season itself is already full of fire, peonies can tip the balance too far. Instead of lifting your home, they overheat it energetically, especially when they're placed right in the center. They dominate the room, smothering softer flows that your space needs in hot months. Too much of a good thing can make everything feel loud. Jessica didn't get it at first. She thought she was just a little off, or maybe work was draining her. But deep down, she was chasing that old feeling. The one where her house felt like a partner. Supportive, soft, cooling. And those peonies? They weren't helping. They were acting like guests who won't stop talking. They looked gorgeous, but they weren't listening to what the room needed. It's like turning on every light in your house when it's already noon. Looks impressive. Feels too much. Or like blasting music at a picnic when people just want a breeze. Your space doesn't always need to shout to feel alive. Sometimes it just needs to exhale. She didn't read it in a book. She just felt it. But later that week, while folding laundry and half listening to a Feng Shui podcast, a woman said this: "Summer needs cooling qi. Don't crowd it with more heat." Jessica froze. That bouquet flashed in her mind. Suddenly, it all made sense. She didn't throw the flowers away. She just respected them differently. She trimmed the stems, split the bouquet into 3, moved one to the patio, one to the guest bathroom, kept just one bloom in a small dish near the window. Then she added a bowl of water on the table, dropped in a few mint leaves, swapped one peony out for a soft white hydrangea. She didn't make a scene. She just made space. And just like that, the tension lifted. She slept better. The air felt lighter. And the room? It finally remembered how to say hi again. Now, every time she sees peonies, she still smiles. She just doesn't give them the whole spotlight anymore. As she puts it, they're gorgeous, but they don't get to run the show. Jessica thought adding sunflowers to her kitchen would bring a little joy. And for the first few days it did. Bright yellow. Tall, proud stems. They sat by the window like little sons of their own. She even caught herself smiling while washing dishes. Not bad for a $9 bouquet from Trader Joe's. But by the end of the week, her mornings felt weirdly rushed. She was snapping at small things. And that warm kitchen vibe turned into too much heat. She didn't know it yet, but the thing she brought in to lift her energy was starting to wear her down. Sunflowers are classic symbols of happiness, optimism, and success. In Feng Shui, they draw strong solar qi pure yang full of fire, perfect for moments that need a boost, but tricky when your home's already holding too much summer heat. Placing sunflowers in areas that already get strong sunlight, like a kitchen window, can actually amplify excess energy, leading to feelings of burnout, impatience, or even family tension. The energy doesn't flow. It blares. Jessica thought she was upping the vibe. But what she really needed was a place to cool down, a place to reset. And instead, she gave herself a 24/7 spotlight. In the one room where she spent the most time, she wasn't basking in the energy. She was getting blasted by it. There's a difference between warmth and glare, and it took a flower to teach her that. It's like leaving the oven light on. Bright, hot, always there. Helpful when you need it. Exhausting when it never shuts off. Sunflowers in summer can act like that. Good energy that overstays its welcome. She didn't even think it was Feng Shui at first. She blamed the weather, the AC, maybe even perimenopause. But after texting her friend Monica, who casually mentioned too much yellow qi in summer can mess with focus, Jessica looked at those sunflowers like they'd been yelling all week. And suddenly, the heat made sense. She didn't throw them out. She moved them. She clipped the stems shorter, placed one in the laundry room where a little boost actually helped. Another on her back patio where the sunlight was meant to be intense, and replaced the big bunch in the kitchen with a calming herb, a vase of rosemary and a sprig of lavender. She lit a candle with a cool citrus scent, opened the top window, and that room? It finally exhaled. Sunflowers are still her summer favorite. She just knows now. You don't need the sun inside your house. Sometimes, a little shade is the luckiest thing you can offer yourself. If you've ever added something to your home because it felt cheerful, and then found yourself a little too wound up later, you're in good company. Drop a V in the comments if sunflowers ever showed up in your space. And hit like if you're slowly learning that energy doesn't always mean more. Sometimes it just means balanced. Jessica had read online that marigolds were great for protection and luck. Bright, bold, easy to grow. So she bought 3 potted ones and lined them across the front steps. It felt symbolic, like planting sunshine right at the door. And for a while, it felt good, like her home was being guarded in the friendliest way possible. But 2 weeks in, things didn't feel right. Packages were delayed. Her best friend showed up late for lunch twice. Neighbors stopped waving when they passed. The front of her house looked golden and happy, but something about it felt blocked. Marigolds are strong in Feng Shui, used in many cultures to protect against bad energy, ward off spirits, and shield boundaries. But when placed in tight, rows specially right at the entrance, they can unintentionally act as an energetic barrier. Instead of inviting flow, they guard too hard. Especially in summer, when energy naturally wants to expand, these golden shields can create a subtle tension, like your front door is closed even when it's open. Jessica didn't mean to build a fortress. She just wanted some good vibes, some summer color. But without realizing it, she built a little wall. And every time she walked past it, it started feeling less like a welcome and more like a checkpoint. She thought she was protecting her home. What she was really doing was keeping some of the good out, too. It's like putting a keep out sign on your porch, but in cursive, in gold, with glitter. People see the beauty, but something tells them to stay back. That's how energy works too. It doesn't need words to get the message. Jessica didn't plan on changing anything. She just noticed something weird. Every time she stepped outside, her body tensed just a little, like walking past security gates that weren't really hers. So she asked her aunt, who practices Mexican folk, Feng Shui, and all she said was, "Too many guardians at the door? Sometimes they guard the blessings too." That weekend, Jessica rearranged the pots, moved one marigold to the back fence, one by the mailbox, left just a single plant on the far side of the steps like a gentle wave hello. Then she added a wind chime to the porch beam, a bowl of citrus water by the door, and a small terracotta welcome sign from a flea market down in Santa Fe. The next morning, the air felt softer. The mail arrived early. Her neighbor stopped to chat again. Jessica still believes in protection, but now she spaces it out. Let it breathe. As she puts it, a little shield goes a long way, especially when you're not at war. There was something about that orchid that felt peaceful. Clean white petals, slim stem, quiet energy. Jessica had placed it on her work desk, right by the window, thinking it would help her focus. A touch of elegance, a little zen. And for a few days, it did feel calming. Too calming, maybe. Emails slowed down. Ideas felt flat. Deadlines, somehow harder to care about. It wasn't burnout. She wasn't overwhelmed. She was just uninspired. Like the energy around her had stopped moving. In Feng Shui, orchids are symbols of refinement, clarity, and spiritual growth. They hold yin to gentle, still, internal. perfect for bedrooms, meditation corners, or healing spaces. But when placed in work zones, desks, or action-oriented areas, that soft energy can actually dampen your momentum. Especially in summer when everything wants to move outward, a still orchid can start to pull energy inward, creating a quiet stall. It's calm, but it's not alive. Jessica thought she was choosing clarity. What she got was drift. The orchid didn't distract her. It just didn't give her anything back. She thought it would elevate her space. Instead, it neutralized it like a beautiful pause button. And when your to-do list is full, you don't need stillness. You need a push. It's like putting a spa in the middle of a treadmill. Looks nice. Feels confusing. Or like turning on calming rain sounds. During a Zoom meeting, right intention, wrong context. The realization didn't hit her all at once. It came when she caught herself staring at the orchid for the third time that morning. Not thinking, not planning, just drifting. She told her friend Natalie about it over lunch, who laughed and said, "Girl, that flower meditated you into missing your deadline." Jessica laughed too, but she also moved it that night. She relocated the orchid to her bedroom dresser, somewhere that needed stillness. Swapped her desk flower for a small vase of rosemary and basil. Lit a lemon verbena candle instead of her usual Palo Santo. And for the first time in weeks, her fingers moved faster on the keyboard. The fog lifted. The chi moved again. She still thinks that orchid is one of the prettiest things in her home. But now she lets it do what it's best at, softening the places where she rests. Not the ones where she moves. Not every piece belongs at your desk, she says. Some of it belongs where you close your eyes. By mid-July, Jessica was craving calm. The heat had been relentless. The house felt too alive, like it wouldn't stop talking. So, when she saw those pink geraniums on sale, she felt relief just looking at them. Soft petals, earthy smell, like a nap for the senses. She bought 4 pots, hung 2 from the balcony, placed one on her kitchen counter, and one right outside the bedroom window. It was quiet at first, but then the days started blending. Motivation dipped. Plans blurred. Nothing bad happened. It just all slowed down. In Feng Shui, geraniums are often used to calm heated emotions, especially in summertime. They carry earth plus water, chi grounding, stabilizing, cooling. Perfect in small doses. But when used in clusters or placed around too many access points, they can overstabilize a space, creating emotional dullness, energetic silence, and loss of momentum. They don't block chi. They numb it. Especially dangerous if you're already dealing with low summer energy indoors. Jessica thought she was choosing peace, but what she got was stillness that started to feel like stuckness. She wasn't anxious anymore, but she wasn't excited either. Her days felt fine, but her spirit felt paused. Too much comfort had turned into quiet disconnection. It's like putting a weighted blanket on your whole house. Cozy at first, then you can't stretch. Or like putting your entire playlist on slow jazz all day. When your brain's screaming for rhythm, soothing turned into sedating. She didn't notice it until she realized she hadn't touched her journal in over a week, hadn't danced in the kitchen, hadn't even lit her usual incense. She wasn't overwhelmed. She was under-engaged. And it clicked when she looked up and realized those geraniums were the only living things in the house, doing absolutely nothing. That weekend, she moved them, hung one pot near the garden gate, where stillness made sense, gave another to her neighbor with 2 toddlers. And for the indoor ones, she replaced them with herbs, a small pot of lemongrass, some spearmint, and basil. The house didn't get louder. It got brighter, lighter, and her energy, it started flowing again. Jessica still keeps 1 geranium on her back porch. Just 1. The rest? She's learned to mix calm with motion. As she puts it, balance isn't about slowing everything down. It's about knowing when to let the breeze in. Sometimes, the things we bring in to feel better don't actually help us feel more ourselves. Jessica didn't stop using flowers. She just started using them like energy, not decorations. Some to lift, some to soften, and some to step aside when the season shifts. Because in Feng Shui, it's never about perfection. It's about listening to what your home needs and what you're ready to let move again. If this spoke to you, if your home's ever felt quietly off without knowing why, feel free to share it with someone who's been trying to fix the vibe by rearranging the wrong things. Your journey's not loud, but it's real, and we'll keep walking it together. See you in the next episode, where we explore what happens when symbols of protection start doing the opposite.